Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237, coming at you with another Chainsaw Massacre review. And this time it is on 1990's Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre III. Now this is when the series, I don't even know, excuse me. Because, it says 3, but parts of it feels like a remake or a reboot. It retcons things that didn't even happen in part 2. Completely separate movie. I would consider this one of the two, of the original run, I guess, that really don't matter. That basically, it starts off with the opening crawl, which actually, before I get to that, it was directed by Jeff Burr. The creative consultant was Kim Henkel, who co-wrote the original with Tobe Hooper, and he would go on to direct the next film that I'm not excited to get to. Other than that, I don't really know anybody of huge importance that was part of either or both of the first two, and then this one. So yeah, it has this opening crawl pretty much saying that the cook was apprehended. His name was W.E. Sawyer, and he was sentenced to the gas chamber in 81. And that Leatherface, who they believed to be a separate killer but of the same family, was in fact just an alternate personality of, the cook. So it was put to rest. It said that it was only the beginning. So, which, of course, in the second one, the cook blew up. He blew himself up with a grenade, taking out Leatherface with him. And it shows Leatherface killing this one chick, I think. That's the thing about this movie. It is incredibly boring. It took me... This movie is... Did it even say on it? Doesn't say how long it is, but it's like a 90-minute movie. It took me almost 2 hours to watch it because I paused it and I looked stuff up. I was reading stuff, or I looked up clips for other thing that was on my mind. It's not very engaging. Because then we have this couple played by Kate Hodge and William Butler. William Butler was in Friday the 13th Part 7. He was like the cousin that gets killed, the one that Tina keeps seeing visions of. And also the young girl who... Her name's Jennifer something, it's not on here. She was young Tina in Part 7, so they're both in this. Kate Hodge and William Butler, they're going cross-country through Texas to get to Florida. I guess to return a car to her father. And they stop off at Last Chance gas station, which of course Last Chance was the cook's gas station in the original, which is why this feels like a reboot. And also, the sort of atmosphere has changed also, because like when I think of Texas, I think of like desolate farm areas like the original. This one is more deserty, hilly terrain, which is alright. It just doesn't utilize it very well. It looks like The Hitcher, but it doesn't feel like The Hitcher. So they stop off at Last Chance Gas, and there's this weird guy, probably the most annoying character in this movie, named Alfredo. And he's constantly talking. He's always like, has this weird, like, motherfucker, fucking. We get he has like a glassy eye. We get he's a bit of a perv because he's cutting up porno mags. Kate Hodge goes to use the bathroom. He watches her through a peephole. And also there is Viggo Mortensen, which I think this was one of his first movies, if not his first. You know, he's kind of like the stereotypical, like, pretty cowboy. Find out Alfredo's been watching her, and, you know, he comes out with a gun, because him and Viggo Mortensen get in, like, this fight. But if this is the third movie, and we sort of established, well, the second one didn't really do that, but, you know, the first, this one, and the next one, anybody you meet along the way is part of the family. So they're going down the road, and Ken Foree is in this. Genre favorite Ken Foree. He plays like a weekend warrior. They're driving, and I forget how, but there's an accident. Both cars flip over. And basically, from then, it's, you know, Leatherface is going after him. And, oh, there's this one girl who I guess is from, like, the beginning scene. I guess like a week has gone by. Total overacting. Ken Foree runs into her and he's trying to help her. And she's always talking like, it's been a week. They'll come and get us. They have a chainsaw. I had to eat a rat. Just hamming it up. The boyfriend bear trap. He gets caught. And then when we get to the house, which, I don't mind the look of the house. I think, you know, it's this new family. You have Grandpa, who's now dead. You have Mama, who has a voice box. Viggo Mortensen. Alfredo is actually dumping bodies in a swamp. This other guy, I think his name is Tink. He's like the road guy. He has like a tow truck. Ken Foree asked him for help, that he realized he was fucked up. You have the young girl, and then Leatherface. And, well, actually, the girlfriend gets to the house, sees this young girl, and instead of, like, a doll, she has a baby skeleton with a doll's dress. So I was like, okay, that's kind of horrific. But she stabs the girlfriend with, like, a bone. And she does this stupid thing where she's like, yakety yak, don't talk back. It's like trying to be creepy. Then Viggo Mortensen comes in, turns a light on, and there's just skeletons and fluff and dust everywhere. Like a shitty version of the original film. And then, of course, we have the dinner scene. Only instead of her being tied to a chair, Viggo Mortensen hammers nails into her hands. So I'm like, okay. And, yeah, apparently Tink had this thing made. The Saw is family, which is a line from part 2. And it's just incredibly boring. I couldn't keep my attention. Not much to say about it. Because then, you know, shit happens. She gets out. You know, final confrontation with Leatherface. None of it amounts to anything. And the really shitty thing is, this comes with R-rated and unrated. Of course, I watched unrated, but even unrated, there's nothing. There's some blood. The only real effect that you get to see is Ken Foree got his rifle out of his Jeep. And he comes up to the house and he just starts shooting. That guy Tink puts his hand up and you see some fingers blown off. And it looks like a mannequin hand. There's no blood. But there are scenes where there could have been effects. Because the boyfriend, right in the kitchen, they have him, there's this thing. He's tied by his feet. He's hung up. When you pull this string, a giant sledgehammer comes down, hits him in the head, kills him. And that's where they gut him out and everything. Hammer comes down. You know it's going to hit him in the head, but it cuts to the girlfriend's reaction. And the makeup effects was done by Greg Nicotero or K&B. Whether it was himself or with K&B. Either way, Greg Nicotero's my favorite. He's like a protege of Tom Savini. He's more realistic, I think. And, just like Halloween 5, he did effects on that and almost everything got cut out. There's this one dumb scene. Ken Foree and the girlfriend, they make it out of the house. They're down at the swamp where Alfredo was dumping bodies. Ken Foree and Leatherface are fighting in the swamp. Water's like up to here. The chainsaw like rises out of the water. And I don't know if Leatherface was like forcing Ken Foree towards it, but I could have swore it looked like the chainsaw was going like a rooster tail water. Gets Ken Foree in the head. So then she takes a rock, hits him a bunch of times. But then at the end, Ken Foree just shows up. He just has like a little cut, and he's fine. Just not much to this movie. The characters are completely bland. They try to be creepy or menacing, like that girl doing the yakety yak thing, but it just comes off as silly. Alfredo was way over the top and actually annoying. Viggo Mortensen was sort of like the calm, cool, like, hey, man. And pretty much Matthew McConaughey. Which I think this was before McConaughey was acting, but he's pretty much doing a McConaughey. Up until the ending where he starts kind of acting like Bill Moseley. Not as extreme. But yeah, this movie's, again, boring. Waste of talent as far as like effects go. Because I guess they shot like an X-rated movie as far as violence. But I can't remember exactly how it happened. But yeah. Oh, it says right here. Okay, so even unrated, it's 86 minutes. R-rated's 81. So even with 5 extra minutes, it's like... I can't think of one decent effect that they actually showed. I used to know, like, they shot X, they had to keep cutting it, and then this is the most uncut, but it doesn't matter, because even if the gore was in there, it wouldn't have saved the movie. It has a really cool soundtrack. No, because I'm a huge metal fan, and these, it's like, I like the Leatherface song by, the only band I've heard of is Death Angel. Other bands like SGM, Laz, something. Has like a cool metal soundtrack. R.A. Mihailoff plays Leatherface. I think he was like a wrestler. Could be wrong. Kate Hodge was the stunt coordinator, so that was cool. They could have just got Kate Hodge. I mean, he's a big dude. The look of Leatherface, it looks like cheap cosplay, or if Asylum did like a chainsaw knockoff. Yeah, it's not terrible. I would put it above, put it over Next Generation for sure. Probably put it over 3D. I actually like the remake. I would say it's equal with the prequel. Only the prequel has a lot of bullshit in it. But yeah. Leatherface, this movie didn't even know what it wanted to be. It calls itself 3. Calls itself a sequel. But it feels like a reboot. They retconned everything that came before it. It's a whole new family. Oh, and of course, and even in the next one, because in this one, Leatherface has a leg brace that's like mechanical. Maybe that's a hint to the injury he got at the end of the original, which was just a cut. I don't know why he needed a brace. But they bring the brace back for, Next Generation. That's going to be a fun rant. But yeah, and also this is the second movie to become, or the first of two movies to be called Leatherface, because there's that new one that came out this year or last year. This year. I still haven't seen it. I know it's basically Devil's Rejects, but yeah, I've seen this movie twice before. Both times were like years ago. Just watching it now, I've already forgot most of it. It's a completely forgettable, boring. Hell, I'm not even the biggest fan of the second one, but the second one looks as great as the original compared to this. I will say it's more watchable than other ones, but it's still pretty much a pointless movie. So with that, that is Chainsaw 3, and coming soon at some point will be The Next Generation. So thank you for watching.